Before you watch this, you gotta know, this is the censored version of this video. If you want to see the actual, full, uncensored version, there's a link down below you can follow. I'm sure you can figure it out. Hello there. Today, I'm reviewing Scarlet Maiden, and in it, play as Scarlet Maiden, and you gotta defeat the primeval by fisting giantesses, getting by vending machines, drinking milk, and even another thing that I can't even show on Fansly. So this game is a roguelite. Okay, not roguelike, roguelite. It's a bit like Rogue Legacy in terms of its game feel, though a bit less polished and fleshed out. But let me kind of walk you through how the game works first before I get into the nitty gritty, you know? So you start in your sort of home base, and there's NPCs you can find in the world to then bring back. They give you different items you can start your run with, like weapons, magic spells, and trinkets that boost stats. But then you enter this door, and your run begins. You start in the mines, going room to room, clearing out bad guys, you know, interacting with NPCs, collecting weapons, spells, trinkets, and also this game's currency called sin. Ooh, no, they couldn't use gold or anything. It's gotta be sin, because it's sinful. We're taboo. Ooh. Yeah, you're doing all that until you find the door that takes you to the next floor. After the third floor, you reach the boss, and after you beat the boss, you go to the next floor. If at some point you die, you go back to the home base, and you can get spanked by this lady to upgrade stats. Like health and damage, and the cycle continues. Now there's actually quite a bit I want to say about this game in particular, so I'm going to try my best to keep my points organized. I do want to preface this by saying I have not actually beaten the game. I'm sorry. Not really. Maybe that makes my review invalid. I don't care. Anyways, let's talk about the gameplay. The moment-to-moment gameplay itself is serviceable at first, but after playing long enough, the game starts to feel a bit tedious, especially since you have to play through the first area every single time you die. Which, of course, you do that every... Like, right, that makes sense, but listen. It's the easiest area, but it can feel a bit long since you have to go through 3 floors first before you can face the boss and start to make progress. Once you've done that, like, first floor, it's kind of just... It's not really that hard. You can get through it pretty easily. So it's like... It just feels like extra padding sometimes. Speaking of progress, I think there's too many things to upgrade for the amount of currency you generally get through each run. There's this whole upgrade tree, and there's the home-based NPCs I mentioned you can upgrade, but the cost for these things can get quite high, quite quickly, to the point where it can take one entire run to fully upgrade one of these stats. Here's all of the stats. Like, look at this. Mind you, each run is about 20 to 30 minutes, so progression can feel quite stagnant most of the time. It also feels like you're constantly trying to play a no-hit run. And I know that sounds dumb, because of course you shouldn't try to get hit. Dumbass. But let me explain. The only way you can heal yourself is by using potions. There's no health pickups at all. Like you can smash stuff in the game, but they only give you sin. That's all they do. You can sometimes drop a mana potion, but no health potions at all. You can get a health potion refilled from this vending machine fellow, but it's pretty rare. I tend to get maybe 1 per area, and like I said before, exploring through each area can take a while, so by the time you get to the 3rd area, you're likely going to only have 1, maybe 2 potions if you're lucky. And the 3rd area is packed with enemies, with all kinds of attack patterns and projectiles, so you're going to be fighting for your life. Ooh, this guy's mad because roguelite hard. Shut up. That's not what I mean. Take Hades, for example. Love that game. It's difficult, but like, it still feels fair. It still feels like it respects my time. You know what I mean? I don't know how to really explain it now, but I don't feel like this game respects my time. But like, you may say, is that not the point? It's a roguelite. Just upgrade your stats so you'll have an easier time. Normally, I would agree with you. But like I said, it can take a few runs just for your upgrades to really start to feel like they're making a difference. And the upgrades are all just boring stat boosts. You can't unlock any new abilities, spells, or weapons, so each run starts to feel pretty much the same. During the runs you can pick up new weapons and spells, but there's really just a few spells that are really worth picking up, and most of the weapons feel pretty much the same, except for maybe the hammer, since it's the only weapon with any kind of range. I'm going to mention this other mechanic that's in the game. During runs, you'll sometimes knock down an enemy instead of killing them, where you'll do this little mini game where you do things with them so you get a little extra currency, but this mini game gets old really quick, and the sound effects for it are just awful. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. Trust me, it needs its own whole section. They really just put a pause on the gameplay. The animations are just okay. They definitely don't sound great, and they don't even provide much extra currency. There's also a lot of rooms that are just there to give you flat stat bonuses, like ones that will give you max health or more melee damage. You just have to sit there and watch a short loop. But you end up doing this so many times through a run that, adding it all up, you're spending several minutes just waiting. Just sitting there, just looking at your screen. thinking to yourself, how did I get here? Why am I here? Are we here just to suffer? So I'm talking all this shit. What would I do to fix the gameplay? Here's my list. Add health pickups from destroying items, combine some of the stat upgrades, or lower the prices for upgrades, maybe both. Add an option that makes it so it skips any animations / cutscenes you've already seen. Like, if you really want to just... that's what the gallery's for. Make each weapon feel more unique. For example, maybe like a shield thing, you can just... bam. Make each area have 2 floors instead of 3 before a boss fight, because it's too much. Top up the player's health after every boss fight so they don't end up using the health potion refill they just got. Let the player unlock new abilities to replace the dash ability if they want. It may sound like a lot of my changes would just make the game easier, and you're right. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, yes, in my humble opinion, I think hentai games should be relatively short or easy to progress. There may be some exceptions, okay, right? But in general, for me, it can just feel a bit frustrating to try to beat or even progress in a hentai game that takes multiple play sessions. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I don't know. I don't care. So now that I've talked your ear off about the gameplay, I'm going to talk about the art and sound design. In general, the art and animations are pretty good. It's pixel art, so like I mentioned in my previous reviews, not really going to be using it, if you see what I'm saying. But I can still appreciate the quality for the most part. Most of the animations just made me laugh because they're just so ridiculous, and I have a hard time seeing how they could get anyone going, but there's some for everybody, I guess. But again, it's all pretty solid. Like, I mean, look at this one. It's all bouncy. My biggest issue, however, is with the non-combat sound design, if you understand. So remember that minigame I mentioned before? Yeah, they use like 2 different voices for that. And not only is the acting terrible, the audio quality itself is terrible. Like, I can hear the compression. It's so crunchy, it's like peaking, it's terrible. And then for the squishy sounds, I'll call them, there's like 4, and they only ever use 2 at a time during an animation. It just sounds like someone's trying to unclog a toilet full of jello, just... The combat, UI sound effects, and the music are okay. Nothing to write home about. Maybe a bit weak and repetitive, but my god, everything else is just awful. I swear, I can make better sound effects myself without even trying. As of writing, the developer is soon to release its next game, Spirit Valley, and if the Lewd sound design is going to be anything like this game, just hire me, guys, please. I'll just buy something from my Throne wishlist or something, or like subscribe to my YouTube channel. Anyways, like with almost every other hentai game in existence, the writing is just kind of there. Most of it is just corny, which is just fine. I'm not expecting much anymore when it comes to the writing quality of these games. And as a writer myself, it's a bit sad, but I guess if you wanted to read, you could just buy a book or a visual novel, not a video game. Quick little side note here, and it's that I really appreciate how everyone in the game is like consenting, like they're having a good time. It feels like I shouldn't be something I have to praise or like even point out, but like if you're someone that peruses these games on the regular, like you get it, right? Like even the enemies you knock down get to have a good time, which is actually pretty rare. There's usually some non-consenting things going on in these games, so to have them actually be like okay with it, at least seemingly. So having said all of that, do I recommend the game? No, I don't think so. Each run doesn't feel unique enough, and they take too long. The Lewd audio is terrible. The scenes you can unlock aren't even that great. Maybe get it on sale, play it with your buddies for a good laugh, if you do that kind of thing with your friends. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you've played the game before, let me know what you think about it. Is there a game you'd like for me to review in the future?
Is there anything else you gotta say for yourself?
Let me know in the comments below. Hope you have a great day. See you another time. Bye-bye.